Roseanne Barr is a famous comedian and actress who began her career in the late 1980s. I used to watch her sitcom Roseanne with my family all the time growing up. As I grew up, I began to realize how controversial some of the topics discussed in the show were, especially for it being popular in the 90s. When I found out that the revival of Roseanne was to be canceled because of racist remarks that Roseanne made on Twitter, I was very confused as to why someone like her would make such statements. Roseanne apologized and shed some light on her struggle with mental illness, so I decided she would be a great patient to focus on for this project. Roseanne states that she has been diagnosed with many things, but the two I will be focusing on are dissociative identity disorder and bipolar 1 disorder. To be considered mania, the elevated mood must last for at least 1 week and be present most of the day, nearly every day. To be considered hypomania, the mood must last at least 4 consecutive days and be present most of the day, almost every day. 3 or more of the following symptoms must be present and represent a significant change from the usual behavior. The DSM-5 states that a person must experience 5 or more of the following symptoms in 2 weeks to be diagnosed with a major depressive episode. Dissociative identity disorder consists of 5 diagnostic criteria. There must be a switch between 2 or more distinct personality states, recurrent amnesia between altering personality states, the symptoms must cause distress or dysfunction, the disturbance must not be part of a cultural or religious practice, and the symptoms must not be attributed to substance use or any other comorbid condition. Please note that I do not know the patient personally, as all information has been collected online, so there could be many other personal factors contributing to the patient's mental disorders. One possible cause for Barr's mental disorders could be a head injury that she endured at 16. This trauma could have caused her dissociative identity disorder to set in faster than it would have otherwise. This statement from Roseanne Barr leads me to believe that trauma from her past, due to the way her parents raised and abused her, could also play a big role in the development of her bipolar 1 and dissociative identity disorders.
It is obvious that she had an unstable source of social and emotional support. A lack of support is devastating to individuals at risk for these disorders, so this lack of support could have led to the onset of her disorders. Roseanne was also outcasted on social media for her controversial statements in the past, as present as 2018. And this open ridicule would, again, be devastating for someone who's at risk for dissociative identity disorder or bipolar 1 disorder.
It is possible to imply from her statement that the culture she grew up in had a negative impact, leading her to suppress and hold on to these feelings of hatred for herself. One of her obsessions may have eventually become her outward
appearance, because it was frowned upon to not fit the societal beauty standards. This could explain why an important premise of her TV series is that she's not an ordinary mom, because she's messy and she wears sweat. Maybe she's become obsessed with not fitting the normal beauty or societal standard. Barr has never clearly stated how long she has struggled with bipolar 1 disorder, but she has talked about bipolar disorder on Joe Rogan's podcast and explained how it has had a negative effect on her life for several years. Roseanne told Esquire magazine that she has struggled with dissociative identity disorder since she was a child.
Roseanne's fans supported her through her toughest times. Having support like this would mean a lot to someone who felt so alone and outcasted by society. Having a group of people who you know will support you no matter what is extremely beneficial to someone's psychological and emotional well-being.
She has said on multiple occasions that she has seen lots of therapists, but there is no specification on what types of therapists she has seen for treatment. Considering she had such a large scandal only in 2018, I believe the treatment may not have worked out so well for her. I believe that the patient should be given a mood stabilizer combined with mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. Considering the patient is easy to anger and quick to say something she doesn't mean, engaging in mindfulness therapy would really help her slow down, be in the moment, and be non-judgmental. The mood stabilizers would allow her to better control her manic and depressive episodes. In addition to mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, the patient would also benefit from cognitive behavioral therapy to help change dysfunctional thinking patterns, feelings, and behaviors that come along with dissociative identity disorder. Roseanne has always been an influential persona in the media, and what fascinates me is how no one talks about her mental illnesses. The majority of people, especially social media users, just see her as that racist woman that got her spin-off show canceled.
I think it's obvious that she is so much more than those angry, weird comments on Twitter. There is obviously some mental issue going on, and everyone just ignores it as if it isn't a factor to be considered. I completely understand that having a mental illness is not in any way an excuse for despicable behavior, but I don't think Roseanne was using it as an excuse. I just find it interesting that people don't like to take into account if someone has a mental illness before forming harsh opinions on them.